Shalom, Yasharallah. It's your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahawah, Bahashim, YAHAWASHI, Bahashim, Rachahudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to go into the scriptures to deal with this here situation that we got at hand as far as with these Edomites, they turning up as far as going on these massive killing sprees, which is really nothing new because this is just the spirit that's inside of them, Their blessing is the sword, and this is all they doing, Hey, thief cometh not but to steal and to kill, all right? That's his MO, all right? But nevertheless, as you hear a lot of this here rhetoric, in which, and speaking on that, a lot of this is being turned up, ultimately it's the Most High turning this all up, but in a carnal sense, you have, Donald Trump, right? He's the president, the leader of the free world. And when he's on TV and on his Twitter, spewing out all these so-called racial slurs and racist things that he's saying as far as like so-called Mexicans, oh, go back. You need to go back to where you come from or whatever, whatnot, Now, even as a kid, when you understand the dynamics of learning, right? It's like follow the leader. A child's going to do and reenact what they see their parents doing. Same with, a kid and their teachers or whatever, whatnot. So whatever, their so-called peers doing their actions to deem is okay, the pupil or whatever you want to say is going to follow them. So when you have like the leader of this here nation, all right, spewing out so-called white supremacist ideology and things like that, all right, where you got the rest of these Edomites here, all right, it's basically like a green light to go ahead and act out on the things that they want to do. Because, wow, what kind of messages are they sending? All right, we're not going to prosecute you. We're not going to do anything to you. We're gonna do whatever we can do to try to, how do I say, cover your back with this, And also like with the police killings, man. All right, this is why they never really go to jail. Nothing really ever happens to them. All right, they get, desk duty. They get a raise, a promotion, book deals, and sometimes just move to a different precinct. All right, but nevertheless, and they don't even really get investigated, or if they do, they find no so-called wrongdoing. Even though it's, most of the time videotaped that they just came up and wound up shooting an unarmed Israelite, But nevertheless, going back into, this whole situation, one thing that you keep hearing them talk about, well, I'll touch on this, with these massive shootings, they always talk about that the gunmen are always, this is a mental issue. This is a mental problem that we have in America. When they talk about this uptick of violence from these Edomites, they're saying this is a mental issue that we're having in America. All right. But then yet and still, they would always, every time you see these mass shootings or whatever, whatnot, that's their so-called scapegoat. But then when they go and talk about Chicago, they say, oh, it's just niggas being niggas. All this black on black violence needs to stop, when in reality, hey, man, how do I say that? The cat is out the bag, man. A lot of those damn cops and, just the agents that's out there. All right. They're rolling around basically in black people suits, like in Hollywood, what your boy name is, Eddie Murphy, right? Eddie Murphy played that movie, The Clumps, right? The Nutty Professor, right? Now you notice how he played all these different characters, fat with the fat suits or whatever, whatnot, or like in the movie White Chicks, with the Wayans brothers, right? They wanted putting on a white costume to look that way, all right? Now in Hollywood, they have these costumes to where a so-called white person could put on this here black person skin, face, and all these types of things like that to look like a so-called black person. In fact, there was a case where there was a bank robbery, all right, and this dude went inside the bank and robbed the bank. They got him on video camera, all right, they put his face on the news and everything like that. Word got out and around, the police rolled up to this one house. They knocked on the door. A woman answered the door and said, I know why y'all here. Y'all looking for my son for robbing the bank, right? They arrest the dude, take the dude in and everything like that, and they announced they found out who the bank robber was, Now, this was a so-called black man who got arrested for this, right? Now, a so-called white woman called into the police and said, no, y'all got the wrong dude. That's not the guy who robbed the bank because my boyfriend is the guy who robbed the bank, Now, the characteristics of this so-called black dude was, he was a so-called bigger black dude in comparison to this white dude, you know what I'm saying? So let's say he maybe had 100 pounds on him, But nevertheless, and he was a lot taller and everything, But nevertheless, the so-called white woman wound up calling the police and telling them they had the wrong person because it was actually her boyfriend who robbed the bank. All right. And so, you know, when they got down to investigating or whatnot, they're like, well, wait a minute. We got a black dude literally right here on camera. We knocked on his mama door, and she said that that was even her son. The mom, the black dude's mom, so-called black guy's mom, even identified that the guy on TV was her son. But come to find out, this so-called white woman was like, no, that's not the bank robber. Look, this is my boyfriend who did this, and he was wearing this here costume when he did this shit. All right, so it would look like it's a so-called black man, but in reality, it was a lot. How do I say? Weight-wise, he was, you know, probably about 100 pounds or 75 pounds lighter than this dude, a little bit shorter than this dude. But what? He had this costume on to make him look like he was a little bit fatter and everything else like that, and ultimately made a white guy look like he was a black guy. All right, so this is the same thing that's going on out there right now. Where, you know, you have all these so-called black killings out there in Chicago, where when you actually talk to people out there, they like, it's not really like that, you know, and we don't really know where all these killings are coming from. But in reality, a lot of this is the police going out there just, you know, rampantly just killing Jake, you know. But nevertheless, you know, they always saying things like, you know, it's a mental issue that's going on when it comes, you know, to these Edomites doing all these shootings. But whenever it's Jake out there, so-called black on black crime, are they just violent people, you know? But nevertheless, none of this is actually true. You know, these are just the lies and the rhetoric that they're out there saying. But nevertheless, you know, the mental issue situation is something that I want to touch on because, hey, in reality, they do, you know, it is a mental issue problem. All right. It really is a mental issue. All right. Yeah, it is a so-called mental problem that we got going on. All right. And this is all inside the scriptures. All right. But it's not. Well, I mean, it is kind of like the way they're explaining it, but we're going to grab it in the scriptures to show you why it's a mental problem unto them, all right? But nevertheless, it's far deeper than a mental problem. It's a spiritual problem, all right? They cut all the way down to the damn soul. But we're going to start here in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 6. It says, then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone, and through none other. By me also they shall be ended, and by none other, all right? So what? We basically talking about, you know, all this here time and everything that's going on around. All these things was made by the Most High. He was the beginning of all these things. He began everything. He's also the author of the ending of all these things, all right? So it's ultimately in the Most High's hand on his time frame. You know, he's the script writer, the director, the producer, and all of this, you know? So he's the one telling you, all right, it's time for your scene to come up or whatever, whatnot. It's time for you to play your role and your part, and this is how the role going to go out, you know? But nevertheless, verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the part and asunder of times, and what shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? All right. So basically, Ezra is saying, you know, when is the end of the world coming? You know, more or less to say, that's how we say it nowadays. When is the end of the world? But in reality, it's like that the world's not going to end. This society is about to end, and the rulership is about to change hands. All right, which we're going to go into further on down. All right. So verse 8 says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau was born of him, Jacob's hand held first of Esau, which we'll actually grab that inside the prophecy of when they was born. But nevertheless, you know, it said Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. All right, so we'll go into the blessing or we'll go into the prophecy about, you know, the first one that was being born and things like that. But nevertheless, and the scripture here is telling you the time frame of when this here current civilization, the society, however you want to call it, is about to end, or this here kingdom and this rulership, all right, is about to end, and when is the next one that's going to follow, all right? Now that's the question that's being posed, and they're going to also tell you who's going to be at the end of the end and at the beginning of the next, all right? So it says, verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And the hand of the man is betwixt the heel and the hand, and the heel and the hand, and the other question Ezra asked thou not. All right, so the point I wanted to grab was in verse 9. It says, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right, so what? To translate this a little bit, Esau is the so-called white man. All right, Jacob is the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, now when you go throughout the Bible, the Israelites never really ruled. They didn't really rule over anybody except for like what the time when King David was, you know, king, and King Solomon, all right, and which wasn't a very long time, all right. But nevertheless, other than that, Israel had pretty much been in captivity under all these other nations, all right. So it's a long line of captivity after captivity after captivity that the Israelites went into, all right. They never really enjoyed the kingdom of heaven or anything like that, all right, for you know, I was going to say an extended period of time, but we know that we're going to get the kingdom of heaven forever, all right? But nevertheless, here it's saying Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So, when people ask, when is the end of the world coming, in that type of sense, all right? Well, all you have to do is look for the signs, all right? The signs would be what? That Esau would be ruling in the last days, all right? He would have his kingdom. His kingdom would, go up. He would oppress the Israelites. Then his kingdom would have a fallen, all right? Then the Israelites would be delivered up out of that kingdom. Then they would be set up on how to rule in the kingdom of heaven, all right? So it's telling you the time frame and who the signs to look for of who's going to be ruling in the end times, all right? So what? Esau would be ruling, but he's also the end of this here world of what? Us constantly going into captivity back to back to back to back and always being on the bottom to what? When we about to get salvation and deliverance and go into the kingdom of heaven to where we're going to rule over these other nations forever, all right? So to read that again, verse 9, it says, for Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, all right? So now let's go to the book of Revelation chapter 11 and verse 11. And after 3.5 days, Salah. Well, let me just start up at verse 8 real fast. This is Revelation 11 and 8. Point is in verse 11. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where our Lord was crucified. All right. So what this place is talking about? What? Basically America. All right. Which is called spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Why? Because of what? The homosexuality is not only being done here, but being pushed out throughout the whole world from this here place in Egypt. Because why? Egypt basically going into what? The house of bondage. All right. Or slavery. This is where the Israelites, where the Israelites was oppressed together in their last slavery. All right. It says where our Lord was also crucified because, hey, this is where YAHAWASHI was ultimately X'd out over here, man. All right, because look, really all over the rest of the world, you got images. You still have the so-called black images of basically all the saints and the Lord and everything like that. But only over here do you have these white images. Only over here do you have this so-called white Jesus and this all ideology and things like that. All right. Verse 9. Oh, and it says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where our Lord was also crucified, because this is where we was going, like I said, this is where we was going to have our last captivity, all right, and they was going to do the most to us here, all right, verse 9. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer to put their bodies in the graves, all right, and so it's pretty much what happened. We've been over it for 350 years, all right, today so-called, really until what? The truth started coming out, all right, of who the Israelites are, all right? So jumping down to verse 10, and they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry and shall send gifts one to another because these two prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth. Verse 11, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life of the Most High entered into them, and they stood on their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right, this is going into what? Ezekiel 37, that exceedingly great army, all right, the valley of the dry bones, all right, their dead bodies laid in the street for 3.5 days, all right, we didn't know who the hell we was over here, all right, we was just completely lost and destroyed over here, all right, they took everything from us, from our customs, our remembrance of our, so-called religion, you know what I'm saying, but the law, statutes, commandments, the name of the Most High and his son, all right, all of our different ways that we had was all stripped from us here in this here place, man. That's why we grow up eating chitlins and collard greens and shit like that, because why? This was all given to us. All so-called black people would say, oh, we got black culture, black this, and like, nah, everything that you got was given unto you from the so-called white man. All right, you had a different language. Same with all the tribes. You spoke a different language. I'm gonna keep using a word for lack of a better terms. You had a different religion. All right. You called on a different power than the ones that they give you over here, or different God than the ones that they give you over here. All right, different languages and so on and so forth, customs and all these things. All right, but nevertheless, it says, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life of the Most High entered into them, and they stood on their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right, now why would this great fear fall upon them which saw them? All right, because why? We just read about how Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right, now the prophecies are telling you that what? That Israel, they was going to be cut off for a point in time. They was, there was going to be a falling away first. All right, like you can read this in Second Thessalonians chapter 2. All right, there had to be a falling away first. The man of sin had to be revealed. All right, the son of perdition. So what? We had to have a falling away as far as not knowing who we were, our names, our customs, the Most High and His Son's name, and so on and so forth. There was that falling away. All right, we was so far gone, we was destroyed. We didn't know what the hell we was, who we were, who to call on for help. We didn't, we over here bowing down and praying into the white man who is our enemy. Not only that, he's basically the people of the Most High's curse, the people whom the Most High have indignation for forever. This is that dude that you think of as the Lord is not the Lord's son, man. All right, that's not who the world, who the world only calls Jesus is not really, who you think he is in the Bible. All right, this is basically the damn devil, man. All right, but nevertheless, this also was used to brainwash our people the whole time and making us, constantly keep going off with everything that we did. All right, but now what? Since going all the way back to what Abba Bibbins, all right, on down to where we at now, the truth started coming out to who the Israelites were. All right, so now, in these latter times after 2007, when the apostles started going on the YouTube and uploading videos, you seeing what? A great expansion of all these camps just blossoming everywhere. This knowledge is going out on the four corners of the earth. Israel is waking up. They're calling on their true name. All right, they're out on the highways and the byways, prophesying the downfall of this here kingdom. All right, and crying out to the Lord for salvation. And what? The Lord is making moves over here. All right. So what? This is like the ultimate fear that's gonna fall on the so-called white man, because why? He destroyed us and took away from us the Most High's name and His Son's name, so we couldn't call on Him for help. All right, Lord, deliver us out of this. But when we call on somebody completely different, all right, you ain't gonna never, imagine if you had to call 911, the police, right? But somebody lied to you and gave you the wrong phone number, like, yo, whenever you need the police to come, you need some help, call, 457. So all day long you dialing 457 trying to get the police ain't never gonna answer because you're not dialing the right number. All right, now the person who gave you that number, they was gonna do something to you anyway, or they was gonna steal from you or something like that. So they didn't want you to call the police. So as long as you dialing 457, you'll never get through to the police. You see what I'm saying? This is what basically Esau did unto us, right? But nevertheless, like the scriptures say, look, let me go back, verse 11. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right, and this is basically dealing with these higher level Edomites, all right, the elites, because why? They know and they understand that we waking up. This is why you see in changes with the YouTube, the hate speech, so on and so forth, and they got these they pushing laws and trying to push through legislation things against so-called black identity extremists, when they even tell you in their own documentation that they've never once arrested a so-called black identity extremist. None of them has actually ever committed any crimes. Like, not to say none of them, but the people that they're claiming as black identity extremists, they never really did anything to become black identity extremists other than somebody putting this their title on them, which you don't have a black identity extremist. This is a far off narrative. All right. Now, however, a white identity extremist, this is what you see going on from the Dylan Roofs on down, man. Are they raping our women, taking our jobs, so on and so forth, Let me go from there to Revelation 12 and 12. All right, because we was just reading about actually, let me come back to that. We was just reading about where is it at? We were just reading about how the men of the Lord was going to stand on their feet. All right, they was going to wake back up. They was going to start prophesying the downfall of this kingdom, calling out to the Most High and His Son with their real names. It was going to be filled with what? This wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures, the breakdowns. All right, that was going to basically trigger in motion what? The coming of the salvation of the Israelites, and to coincide with that, the downfall of these Edomites. All right. So this is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5 verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as has afflicted him and made no account of his labors. And when they shall see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation so far beyond they look for. So what? That's ultimately going into when those chariots come back. But what? Before then, you know what I'm saying? They starting to, fear is falling upon them because they're starting to realize, damn, we spend billions, if not trillions of dollars so that these niggas wouldn't know who they was, to hide all this, to give them these distractions, to get them to kill each other off. We did everything we could do to eliminate these people, but yet they still thriving. You know, not only that, they found out they actually the Israelites and we the Edomites. All right. And they actually on the highways and the byways cussing us out, telling us what our future is going to be, prophesying the downfall of our kingdom. And it's actually happening. Telling us that, you know, these curses are about to fall upon us, and it's actually happening. Telling us that what? We about to go into captivity, and they can see it, you know, not that far off, about to come to pass. All right. So, you know, ultimately, let me just read this, because ultimately this is how they're going to, you know, a lot of them are actually starting to see this now. All right. But what? They're starting to lash out. But we'll get to that. Verse 3. And they repented and groaning for anguish of spirit say within themselves, this is he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. Talking about y'all some fucking spicks and some fucking niggas. Go back to your country, to your hellhole country. This is how these people look down upon you. This is what they think of you. You're nothing but a bunch of immigrants and criminals and rapists and murderers and drug dealers. You know what I'm saying? This is, hey, you can't never be first of all, you can't even be a man here, man. All right, for you Israelites, let alone to be a Israelite man here. All right, you got to be, you know, the only way that they really like you is either dead, in jail, emasculated, or feminized, which basically is the same thing, you know. But nevertheless, verse 4 says, we fools accounted his life madness and his end without honor. How is he numbered among the children of the Most High and is lot among saints? All right, among the saints. Because wow, this is gonna be the biggest L that they ever catch in their life, man. It's gonna get a little worse than that. This is just the realization that. Let me just keep reading. Verse 6, therefore have we erred from the way of truth, and the light of righteousness have not shone unto us, and the sun of righteousness have not shined upon us. We wearied ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. Yea, we have gone through deserts where there lay no way. But as for the way of the Lord, we have not known it. Would have pride profited us, or what good have riches in our vaunting brought us? All right, so what? When they start realizing that we actually are the children of the Most High going to come back and save us and render this here judgment upon them for the things that they did, they're going to be like, oh, shit, maybe we're not going to get away with all the things we thought we was going to get away with. Maybe, you know, we wasn't far superior to them and they wasn't just a bunch of niggas and spicks. Maybe they was God's chosen people. Maybe we weren't even God's chosen people to begin with. Maybe we ain't even got shit to do with that. Oh, maybe we at the bad end or, you know, the judgment end of that stick, man. All right. So this is what they, you know, slowly but surely going to come to grips with, you know. But there's a lot of these Edomites already that's in that spirit that's already realizing these things, realizing that their kingdom is how they say kingdom is come. You know, their kingdom is coming to an end now. All right. So now let me go from there back to the book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 12. It says, Revelation 12 and 12, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down to you having great wrath, because he knoweth he have but a short time. Like I was just going into, man. These devils know that it's the end all be all for them. All right. Like the scripture just said, you know, after the 3.5 days, they was going to stand on their feet and great fear fell upon them. All right. And we just read about how, you know, they was going to see the men of the Lord standing in great boldness. All right. In the face of those that afflicted him and counted his labors, you know, for not, you know, but nevertheless, this is all coming to set in on them now. All right. Because beforehand, we was just prophesying. They just laughed and mocked and scoffed at us. Y'all just some niggas in dresses, go get jobs or whatever, whatnot. But now the sentiment is, oh, well, what can we do to be saved? Or what can we do? We're trying to just help you out. We know we done you wrong and so on and so forth. But what can we do to help? You know, now they pretty much, some of them are pretty much trying to beg for mercy. But what? You have others that's going out there just turning up like, you know, in that childish spirit. If I can't have it, nobody can, you know. Or if I can't, you know, as little kids, you know, y'all playing the video game and so is being stingy, don't want to let the other kid play. And he's like, y'all take turns or I'm going to take it away from both of y'all. You know, you got 5 more minutes to play and then let your cousin play or whatever. If 5 minutes is up and it's time for your cousin to play and you take the damn game and you break the damn game so your cousin can't play. You're like, well, if I can't play, you can't play either. You know, this is how these Edomites are starting to act out right now. You know, this is why you see them turning up and talking about, oh, we just hate Jake. You know, these Latinos need to go back to their country. They're stealing our jobs and raping our women. Same with Jake, you know, or Judah. You know what I'm saying? So we got to go out on a killing spree. And this is why you see them going into the Walmarts and all these different things, driving 10 hours away to go shoot people. And I'm like, damn, bro, like 10 hours away. Jake not finna drive 20 minutes away to go find your ass. He'd be like, I'll catch this nigga when I see his ass. You know what I'm saying? But let alone drive 10 hours to go shoot some people, man. Your hatred for Israel has to be mighty strong, man. All right. But let me go from there to the book of Second Esdras. Salakia. This is Second Esdras chapter 15. I'm going to start at verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, saith Yahawah, and cause them to be written on paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imagination against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. So what? We're not supposed to be fearing these Edomites as far as how they trying to, we're going to ride on them or whatever, whatnot. Well, ultimately, we know that, that they're going to come down on us. But what? The Lord is going to protect us in those days, man. All right. Verse 4, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith Yahweh, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. And what? These plagues are hitting Egypt real bad right now, or Babylon here in America real bad, man. The opioid crisis, the suicide rate, man. All right, the massive killing. All right, they're just going out shooting up the place, man. Verse 6, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Talking about these Edomites, all right? They didn't completely fill the whole earth with their wickedness, man. All right? Therefore saith Yahweh, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and the righteous blood crieth out unto me, and the souls of the unjust complain continually. So the Most High is now saying, look, I'm tired of hearing about the innocent blood crying out, because you just want to go over there and keep putting them to death for no reason, because you're just a sore loser, man. All right, you got this mental problem, man. You can't take the fact that you was rejected, man. That's what it is. You bugging out of your mind. You can't accept the fact that you didn't lie to yourself so much that you such, how they say, God's gift to the earth, and you realizing you actually God's curse to the worst, man. Curse to the earth, man. All right, you the people of His curse and the people of His indignation forever, man. All right, and that's what you finding out. And so what? This is bugging you out, all right, because you've lied to yourself so much. Verse 9. Therefore saith Yahweh, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter, and I will suffer them now to dwell in the land of. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. And so what? That's what's going on right now, man. Our people are led as a flock to the slaughter, man. These police officers, man. I heard a statistic today that's saying police officers are one of the top, I believe, 6 or 7 killers among so-called African-American men between the age of like 25 and 35, which the other ones are being like accidents, whether they be car accidents, overdoses, accidental overdoses, heart disease, heart problems. Let me see, it was car accidents, car accidents, overdoses, heart problems. But shit, I think that might have been it. And the police killing them off, man. All right. But nevertheless, hey, when you got the police is killing more people than Jake actually killing each other, when, so-called black on black crime is just so-called out of control. But really, it's these police officers that's killing Jake, man, which the police is they work for the government. So really, it's this here American government that's killing off, the Israelites, in droves. All right. It says, verse 11, but I will bring them with the mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and will smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. All right, so this is what's going on here now in Babylon or America. All right, all the infrastructure, the economy, the minds of these people, everything is deteriorating rapidly here, man. Their birth rates are declining. The Edomites' birth rates are declining here, man. It's over for Babylon, man. It's over for these Americans, man. Verse 12, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten in the plagues and the punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. All right. So, hey, that's what's going on right now. These Edomites are mourning over here in Babylon, man, or America. All right. Egypt, Babylon. These are all, synonymous with what you call America here. All right. Because Egypt is going back to what? Bondage, where we served hardcore bondage at, Babylon is just what, mystery Babylon, the great whore. All right. But nevertheless, the great land of confusion. All right. But nevertheless, it says Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with the plagues and the punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. That's what you got going on right now. And these Edomites are seeing it. All right, they seeing the men of the Lord raising up on their feet, being risen up. All right, life is being put back into them. They're not walking around dead no more. All right, all their witchcraft and things are starting to fail on them. Their economy, their infrastructure, their military, their whole kingdom is falling upon themselves, man. Not only that's falling upon them, these curses are falling down upon them, man. Their kids are dying off at record numbers with these opioids and methamphetamine. They talking about methamphetamines, or meth. Meth is the new killer now. It's surpassing opioid addiction, because why? They started pulling out the opioids. All right, now they're giving them meth. So what? You got these heroin addicts now switching over to meth, man. All right, and really, when they started drawing back with the opioids, this is when you start seeing a lot of these Edomites going crazy, man. And one thing about a damn drug addict, especially these heavy ass drug addicts, man. Hey, because really, you know, Jake be smoking weed and shit, but when Jake don't got no damn money to get high or get drunk no more, they just be going without, or they'll go find a friend with some shit, man. Hey, buddy, what you doing? And shit, I got this 6-pack over here. Shit, cuz, let me get one of them beers up off you, cuz. You know what I'm saying? We just go find somebody else we can go get fucked up with, man. We don't go and start robbing and killing. You ain't never really heard of no damn. I ain't never heard of no damn Jake going to go rob a damn store, go kill somebody, sell his mama VCR to go buy some goddamn beer. All right, now, when they was doing what they call chemical warfare on us with the cocaine and all that, that was something that was pushing to us, you know. And you know, Jake didn't understand what was going on, you know, the ramifications of selling that stuff to their people, because wow, they was already starved out and no jobs, nothing like that. So they wound up bringing that stuff in there. All right, and you know, this was a quick way to start making money. They didn't they never seen a crackhead before in their life, because this was something new that came out. They didn't know how it was going to destroy their people, man. So everybody's selling to everybody. Then ultimately they all getting destroyed. But what, you didn't start seeing what they call it, a epidemic that's going on, a health crisis and nothing like that, man. It was, this is the war on drugs. We got to start, persecuting these people. All right. But nevertheless, now that the things is turning around on these Edomites, now they want to cry and act like they're a victim. All right. But nevertheless, verse 13, they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fell through the blasting in the hill and the fearful consolation. All right. And that's another thing that's going on right now, man. That's why another reason why these Edomites are popping off, man. They're taking all of our jobs. These illegal immigrants are taking our jobs. I'm sorry, bro, but if you complain about a so-called Mexican taking your job, your ass probably shouldn't have been working in the damn fields or working as a lawn service tech, man. Because ultimately, these are all the jobs they really be having. You cannot, you sound like you really mad that you really lost you a good job to a so-called illegal immigrant that don't speak no English, that just came over here with no paperwork. Like you done lost your 6-figure job as a CEO of some company. And even if you did lose your job as a 6-figure income as a CEO of a company, you lost your job because another Edomite fired your ass to bring in cheaper labor and to replace you with. But in reality, that's not happening, because you're not going to get somebody that's making 6 figures. These Edomites making 6 figures at the top of their damn company, all right, or more. You know what I'm saying? You're not finna bring in no damn so-called illegal immigrant that don't speak no English, you know what I'm saying, with no papers to take his job. It's just not gonna happen, man. All right, so but this is the things that they're talking about. These are the things that they taking all of our jobs, but really, these are these curses that's falling upon Babylon, man. This is the end all be all for this here place, man. All right, this is when the doors are being shut in the street, man. All right, verse 15 again, 14. Woe unto the world and them that dwell therein, which we just read in Revelation 12. For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, for one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right, let me keep reading. Let me just read this all the way down. Verse 16. Well, let me stop at 15. For for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. That's why you're seeing all this violence going out here in America, man. All these people going around on these massive killing sprees, man. But it's going to go further into it. For there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So what? It's illegal to kill anybody here in America, man. All right, but what? These damn Edomites is going, taking the liberty to write manifestos of how they're going to do it and what they want to do, and putting all these death threats on the internet and all kind of things like that, posting it on Facebook, telling you what they want to do because of why? Oh, y'all are taking our jobs, raping our women, destroying our economy, all kind of things like that, man. So what? But ultimately they know it's the end of their kingdom. So what? They're lashing out. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. Because of the pride of the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, and shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and great tribulation. All right? Because why? This is what's going on. The economy's starting to fail, man. And when these Edomites, now, they ain't just living it up, going on vacation 5 times out the year on their yacht, private planes, and sending these kids to school overseas and all these different things. Because why? The economy's slowing down, which was all planned out by these other Edomites, the elites. They the ones sold your job out. But because nevertheless, they the ones liquidating and destroying this here place over here. You mad at Jake because you can't get no more jobs, man. You facing poverty, man. You facing being poor and having to go get jobs like Uber and shit like that, DoorDash, and go pick up 2 and 3 jobs, man. You can't afford none of these things over here. So what? You committing massive suicides, all right, going on killing sprees, trying to take out your anger on Jake and trying to blame everything on Jake when it ain't our fault at all. Well, it kind of is our fault, The Most High is bringing these plagues down upon you because you touched the apple of his eye. But other than that, in a carnal sense, all this shit is your fault. Y'all was at the. Come on, bro. You was driving the damn boat, and you mad that your ass hit you. You ran ashore. Well, you the one who was driving the boat. You was the one steering. You the one seeing the shoreline over there, bro. How you mad at the passengers on the boat because you the one drove ashore on the boat? But this is the things that's going on. Let me go from there to. I'm gonna go read one more, and I'm gonna close out. This is Genesis chapter 25, and I want to say verse 20. Yep. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian, and of Panaram, the sister of Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated YAHAWAH for his wife because she was barren, and YAHAWAH was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went and inquired of YAHAWAH. So she's got a pregnancy, but she's having complications with her pregnancy. And YAHAWAH said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. All right, so this is the 2 different nations, Jacob and Esau. All right, 2 different manner of people going to be separated from thy bowels. And one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger, which we read earlier in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 6 about how Jacob held first the hilt of Esau. So Esau came out first, which you can further read on down here, verse 26 or verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 when he bare them. But nevertheless, it said in the prophecy here that the elder was going to serve the younger. All right, so they know what time it is. Esau's the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. We're going to pay them back for all the things double, for all the things they've done unto us, and they just can't take this, because they're going to be exterminated at the end of all this, all right? But nevertheless, it said, the point here I want to grab, it says, and one people shall be stronger than the other people, all right? And what? We know that we stronger than them mentally, physically, and spiritually, man, all right? Now that they got signs of poverty coming, their economy's collapsing, they can't get jobs no more, whatever, whatnot. They all going on these killing sprees, But what? Jake has always been at the bottom of the barrel. Can't never find jobs. Can't never do this. Can't never get nothing. We've always been poor at the bottom of the barrel without anything. Always been oppressed by the so-called white man here. All right. Always been, fucked over by the judicial systems and all kind of things here over and over and over again. But you don't see us, going so-called postal. That term postal was coined because these Edomites, all right, they get fed up with their job and they go and shoot up their damn job. But you don't hear about Jake shooting up their damn job. All right, Jake, now, if Jake go in there and shoot a gun off at his job, it's because his boss is fucking with his money. He didn't went up there and pulled the pistol on his boss, but everybody else is pretty much safe. You know what I'm saying? Because Jake don't be doing no shit like that, man. All right, but anyway, Esau be done lost his damn job, all right, because of why? Maybe because the business is just closing down. Maybe the business ain't actually doing good, so they got to close the doors and the whole company out. But what? Esau going there and shoot up the whole damn place, man. And ain't none of the people had nothing to do with the business closing down. It was just, hey, that's the end of that business, man. All right? But ultimately, this is the end of his economy, the end of his infrastructure, the end of his military, the end of his oppressive rulership, and the end of his kingdom, and the end of his freedom. All right? So what? He can't take that, all right? He can't take that mentally, physically, or spiritually. So what? He's lashing out with all he can do, which we read in Revelation 12:12. The devil is come down into you having great wrath because he knows you have but a short time. All right. So what? This is ultimately, it is ultimately a mental illness. You ain't strong enough to take what's coming to you, man. You ain't strong enough to bear the burden of you having to take this here punishment for the things you've done. You're not mentally strong enough to take responsibilities for your actions that you've done on this here earth, man. All right, this is why you see a lot of these Edomites who commit these massive bad crimes and the ones that actually do get sentenced to jail. They wind up killing themselves before they even make it to damn jail, man. All right, but Jacob done got hit with we're going to give you 35 life sentences, 200 years in prison. And Jacob be like, all right, fuck it then. And they go in jail and they just wind up dying in jail of old age or whatever, whatnot, man. You know what I'm saying? Which is all fucked up to give somebody like 200 years in prison or multiple life sentences. Like, bitch, nobody going to live that long to begin with. But they're just doing it to so-called send a message. All right. But nevertheless, hey, as we can ultimately see what's going on right now, as these Edomites is being brought down and the Lord is bringing these plagues upon Egypt or upon Babylon. All right. These Edomites can't take that, man. They can't take that the Most High is actually not on their side and that the people they've been oppressing is actually the Lord's people, man. They can't even take the fact that, just look at what Barack Obama got in office. These so-called white people thought it was the end of the world, man. That's why they were so super happy when Donald Trump got in office, man. All right. But yet and still, that's one. We're going to just say he is a so-called black man for this term of the argument, which we know he's a Hamite. But nevertheless, they can't even take having one so-called black president. How the fuck you think we feel got all the presidents besides him being Edomites? You know what I'm saying? We in captivity up under y'all. We got to live with this day in and day out, man. All right. And you say that, oh, look, if y'all don't like it, then leave. Well, if we try to leave, then we become a problem, Oh, with the BIEs or whatever, whatnot, it's a problem if they want to leave here in America, and they're a problem if they stay here. So we ultimately can't do anything, man. We just got to sit here and take it, man, and be gunned down and can't say nothing about it. That's how y'all want us to take it. But nevertheless, as you seeing these curses fall upon you, all right, the Most High is bringing these plagues upon you, and you seen your kingdom fall before you. You can't take it. So what? You lashing out, committing suicide, going on massive shooting sprees. You know what I'm saying? You just breaking down and bugging out, man, getting on all kind of opioids and drugs and stuff like that, man. All right. Hey, you Edomites are through, man. All right. And it's a glorious thing to sit here and witness and see, man. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, you was edified with this. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say stay strong. Shalom.